Good morning. This is VirtualPBX-admin training. Sorry for the slightly late start here. I am just working on a couple things to make for a better experience. The training will last between 30 to 45 minutes, mostly depending on load times. We do record these trainings, so if you can't see it for the whole time, that's fine. You can come back later. This also allows you to share the stream with other staff members who may need to become system admins, whether that's immediately or in the future. Feel free to make use of YouTube's chat feature to ask questions about a feature as I go over it. For the majority of the stream, I'm actually going to be telling you where things are. I'll be referring to the show notes where we have links to like the support page, among other things, to give you step-by-step instructions on a particular feature. So here on our page, you have our dash login page, which is at dash.virtualpbx.com. To get logged in, we need 3 pieces of information. The first is your username. That should be your email address in all lowercase letters. We need your password, which is case sensitive. And then lastly, we need your account name, which would be your organization name, business name, etc. Now, if you have trouble logging in down here above the sign-in bar, there's if I got your info link. You just click on that. And we still need that email address. And then we need one of the 2 following pieces of information. So we need either the account name or a phone number on the account. Click on the reset password button at the bottom, and then you'll get an email, which will have in the body of the email will be a link to let you temporarily log in to change your password. If you try to do anything else, it will also log you out. But once you're done changing your password, come back out here and enter in that new password. And then you also have the option here to click on Remember Me. And then click on Sign In. Oops. And once you do get in, you'll get sent here to your dashboard page. Gonna give it a second here to load. Up here at the top, you have your name. You can click at your name on any time, and it will bring up a big pop-up. It starts you off on your user account page. This is where you would go to change your password at any time. As a system admin over here on the left, you have access to the account level settings. So you could change like who the technical contact is, also the time zone and language for the entire account. System admins can manage add-ons for your account. This will be basically adding on additional features to your account. They almost all have an additional fee. There'll be a pop-up letting you know what that fee is on a monthly basis. Among the add-ons are virtual text forward, multiple auto attendants, dynamic caller ID, and advanced reporting. System admins have also access to the billing portal over here on the right, or the left, sorry. And then you would click on the Access Customer Portal link here. It will ask you for the email address, and then it will give you a PIN number to log in. This is where you would go to see previous invoices, as well as update your payment method. System admins can also click on Cancel Account, and basically there'll be a red button over here on the far right, and then follow the steps. this will cancel your account at the end of the current billing cycle. Then you'll get a final invoice, and then your account is officially closed. Once you're done, over here towards the top right, click on the close button. And then you'll be back here on your dashboard page. Hold on a minute here. Sorry about that. Up here, also to the right of my name, I have the D&D toggle, which stands for Do Not Disturb. Mine is currently active, meaning I'm not accepting calls. Further over here to the right, I then have so this opens up a new tab, takes you to webphone.virtualpbx.net. It has a login information page. It just uses your dash login page. Now, this will only work if you've already added a web phone device to your user. That does count as a web phone. Little speech bubble icon here. This opens up a new tab, takes you to virtualtext.app. This page has its own login information, and this is what you would use to make use of the virtual text feature or business SMS. Question mark icon. This opens up a new tab. This opens a new window at the bottom of your current browser window, lets you speak to or chat with our support team. Little menu icon here, or the hamburger icon, right? 3 horizontal lines. This gets you to other dash features. We'll touch on these briefly at the end of the training. And then the arrow to the right icon logs you out of your account. Down here in the center, we have total users. So I have 5 users on my account. These are people who make and receive calls. Generally speaking, the more users you have, the higher your bill is going to be. Total devices, I have 14 devices, and a breakdown here of the kinds of devices. The main ones to keep an eye on are the soft phone, the web phone, or the SIP phone. Right? These are all types of VoIP phones. The SIP phone is a physical VoIP device, and so separate hardware sits on your desk. Whereas the web phone, browser-based phone, use Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. And then the soft phone is an app, whether that's on a computer or on a phone, but still uses your internet connection. Down here, I have total phone numbers. I have 12. Your account includes some number of phone numbers as part of the monthly plan price, so you'd want to check on that before you start adding numbers all over the place. And then the breakdown of assigned numbers versus spare, which just means numbers in use versus numbers you're not currently using. And then USDID and US toll-free. USDID is a US local number. US toll-free is a US Canada toll-free number. Conference bridges, I have 2. This means I have enabled the conference feature on 2 of my users. So these are people who can make and receive calls. Over here to the top right, I have my main number block. These numbers all act the same way. And they're all going to the same area of my system. They're all going to play the same main greeting. The conference number, you can have multiple conference room numbers. They all go to the same set of conference rooms, and everyone who calls in will be prompted to enter the conference room number and PIN number. Even your staff members would need to call this phone number to join a conference or moderate a conference. The fax box number, this is your inbound fax number. Basically, so you can receive faxes. This also lets you edit the fax box, so you can allow for outbound faxing. The company directory, there's 2 links here, CSV and soft phone. The first is just a CSV file, so just use your favorite spreadsheet program. It's going to show all your users' names, their email addresses, their extension numbers, and their devices. The soft phone link is for use with the VirtualPBX desktop softphone application. So if you're using our softphone app on a Mac or Windows PC, you can download this file, upload it to your softphone app, and in your contact list, you'll see your other staff members who have the VirtualPBX softphone, and you'll be able to see the status of them in regards to the VirtualPBX softphone, right? So you can see if they're on a call or not with that device. VirtualPBX Store, this opens up a new tab, takes you to store.virtualpbx.com, and where you can order things like a VoIP phone. The account realm, each account has its own account realm. This is one of the 3 pieces of information you would need to program or provision a third-party softphone. It's also used for outbound faxing, which we'll get into later. Scroll back up here to the top to the blue bar. We have caller ID. So click on this button. This allows you to select one of your main numbers to be your outbound caller ID for your VoIP phones. You do need to have this set up so you can successfully make an outbound call with your VoIP phones, right? It's their caller ID. So they kind of need that to have calls complete. Hold music. This allows you to upload your own media files. We just click on the upload button here, click on browse to find the file. System will play back .wav and .mp3 files up to 1 megabyte in size. This will become the default hold music for all of your staff. And this is after a call has reached them on their phones and are on their VoIP phones specifically. And after they've picked up, talk to the customer, and then press hold on their VoIP phone, that's when this media file will play. And then we'll go ahead and close that out. And then we have hours, which is actually part of main number. Now, if you're just getting started, you don't want to go right into main number. You want to make sure you have all your users with devices set up and possibly even groups. So with that in mind, we'll click over here on the left to users. Here you have your user page. Anyone with a blue suit icon are system admins. Anyone with a gray person icon are standard users. Standard users have very limited access. They can basically check their voicemail. They can enable call forwarding. It's pretty much about it. Right, admins can do all the stuff we're talking about today. To add a user, you click up here at the top, add user. Pop-up box will show up here, and you fill out the form. The main thing to know is that the email address used for login needs to be unique for each user. Right? Cannot be reusing email addresses. Create the information that you want. The system will suggest an extension number, but you can use whatever extension number you want. We do recommend using multi-digit extensions just to give you more growth potential. By default, the system will always create a voicemail box for the user. It's intrinsically tied to the user, so they can instantly call. Like if they have a VoIP phone on the user, after you go through all the setup for the user, they can pick up their VoIP phone, dial *98, and click call on their VoIP phone. It's going to log them directly into this voicemail box, where they'll be prompted to create a PIN number and their voicemail box greeting. They'll even have the option to record their name for use in the company directory, this is your option to include them in the company directory. You can always change this later. Send emails to an alternate address. So by default, the system will send any email notifications to the email address used to log in, right? Voicemail notifications, password resets. If you want those to go to a different address completely, click on this box here and then enter that different email address in the box provided. And this is something you can also change at any time. And then lastly, you have the option to send credentials to the user, which I typically do recommend. What happens there is if you click either of these 2 buttons at the bottom, the user gets created, and then they get sent an email welcoming them to the Dash account with their login information. Once a user is created, you can click on their name. It will expand out, right? So you can change their name if you made an unfortunate typo. You can change their credentials here. So if you need to change their email or their password, you can also send them the password reset so they can just change their password to whatever you need, or whatever they need, rather. Here, you can change their voicemail box PIN number. Just enter 4 digits and save changes. Here's the option to send emails to an alternate address. Here's the option to be in the user directory or not. Over here, you have this pull down. This lets you change an admin or user into an admin or an admin back to a user. The little clock icon, this lets you change the time zone for the user, so their voicemail timestamps are correct. Little flag icon, this lets you change the display language for these web pages for this user. The ringing timeout by default is 20 seconds, which is plenty of time to send calls to a landline or a VoIP phone. If you have a user who's only using a cell phone, you'd want to increase this to 30 seconds, possibly longer. Users have an extension box, and you can always add an additional extension number to them if you need to. Just enter that new extension number and then save changes. Users can also have their own phone numbers. Now, you have two options. Add from spare is using one of your spare numbers. Right? You're just assigning it to a new location. By numbers is adding new numbers to the account. Users can have multiple phone numbers if you want them to. Bear in mind that the phone numbers on a user are available 24/7. There's no hours of operation, no holidays. It's always going to be available. For details on how to add a number, look in the show notes, and you should see a link there for the support pages. And there you can do a search for adding a phone number or even DID phone number. Next, we have the device box for a user. Again, you can add from spare or new device. The only device I'm going to go into here is a soft phone. So whenever you add a soft phone or web phone, you always get this warning message. Please make sure to read that at least once. And then here, you'll see this is the default, which is a third-party soft phone, meaning you're using somebody else's soft phone application, which is fine. You need to give it a name, and then you'll need to copy and paste the user, the SIP password, and the account ROM. Those are the three pieces of information we provide that you need to use to program or provision that other soft phone application. Now, if you want to use the VirtualPBX soft phone app, then down here below where it says View Configuration Guide, there's a toggle. It says Use Third-Party Application. When I click on that, it flips it. So now it says Use VirtualPBX Application. I give it a name. I click on Create Device. And then I click on Save Changes. Once I click on Save Changes, Dante here gets an email saying his VirtualPBX soft phone's ready. In the body of the email, username and password, and then download links, right? That username and password is going to be different than what he uses to log into his Dash account. Users can have multiple devices, as you see up here, right? This user has 3 devices. By default, if they have multiple devices, they all ring at the same time for the same amount of time. Right. For adding other devices, use the support page link. You can also look at the auto provisioning phones, which is for SIP phones that are supported. Now here we have our user features. I'm going to go in depth on 2, and then I'll touch on the others. So first, it's voicemail. Right, by default was enabled by the user, or when the user was created. This is a default setup for voicemails. Voicemail boxes can hold up to 100 messages. After that, they are full and cannot accept any more. The system, by default, will always attach an MP3 file to the email notification. Right, so you can just click on it on your email and listen to it. But that doesn't delete it from the voicemail box. Now, with this default setup, your users can call into their voicemail box and listen to messages over the phone. They can also log in to the dash.virtualpbx page and go to the user portal, and that defaults you to your voicemail tab there, so you can listen to your voicemails directly in your browser. And in both the calling in and on that browser, you can delete messages. Right? Now, if you have a user who is chronically bad about managing their voicemail box, then you can also choose this option here to delete after notification. So that way, after we send out that email, then the system automatically removes it from the account. But then they can only ever check their voicemails via that email message. All right, follow me. This is for users with multiple devices. So up here, you would click to enable. And then you have to tell the system what devices you want to make use of. Now, this is you as an admin determining this, right? So the user themselves can't do this. So you would uncheck the devices you want to make use of, click and drag this little green bar for each device to give them a ring time. Up here, along the top, these are timestamps. It defaults to 120 seconds. You can change that and then hit enter. I can also click distribute. All right, so now it equalizes out between these two devices. I can click and drag to change the order and then click distribute again. And so now I'm doing my web phone first versus my soft phone. And then I would click on save changes. All right. Call ID number. This is for users with their own phone numbers. When you enable it, that phone number that's on that user becomes their outbound caller ID for their VoIP phones. Fax box, this allows you to enable a fax box specifically for this user. You'll have the option to add a phone number or an extension. I recommend adding a phone number. Conference bridge, this allows you to make a user a conference moderator, set up a PIN number for them. They can also adjust that PIN number on their user portal page. Call forwarding, this allows you to enable call forwarding for the user. The main thing for an admin on this is the failover mode for your VoIP phone users. So what you would do is turn on failover mode and enter a phone number. So that way, if their VoIP phones ever go offline, the system would automatically forward to a phone number that you designated. Now, like in the case of this user, where one of their devices is already a cell phone, I don't need to do that. Customized call recording. This allows you to set up recordings for inbound and outbound calls. Music on hold, you can have users have their own hold music. Just upload an MP3 or WAV file. Do not disturb if you don't want a user to get calls because they're doing something important. Hot desking is a VoIP phone feature. This is designed for a hybrid scheduling or shared office environment where basically users don't have their own assigned desk and VoIP phone that they sit at every day. This allows you to then, the users to log into the specific VoIP phone that they're sitting at for that day. And then once they do that, calls will then, for their user, will then come to them at the phone that they're sitting at. And for all of those features, please use that support page, look up the specific feature to get the step-by-step. All right, next up, we're gonna go to groups, sometimes referred to as hunt groups or ring groups, or you can also think of them as departments. Basically, a group of people who answer calls about a simpler topic. Up here at the top, you click on Add Group. You need to give it a name. You need to give it an extension number. Then you click and drag your staff members that you want to be in the group, and then you would click on Create Group. Once a group is created, you can click on their name or the group name. You can always change it at any time. And then you have group call attempts. This is how many times the system will offer calls to the members of the group. There's little arrows here at the far right that you can increase or decrease that as needed, and then save changes. Members box for a group shows you who's assigned to it and how they're offered calls. You can click on Add Members if you need to add more people here. And then I can click and drag these bars all the way over here and then save changes. So that's an example of blast ringing or ring all, right? So whoever answers the call first gets it. I have timestamps up here, defaults to 20 seconds. I can obviously change that. I also have this distribute button. Now, when I do it like this, David always gets the call first. Even if he's already on another call, he'll initially be offered that call first for, in this case, 40 seconds, and then it will go over to Dante second, right? Every time, doesn't matter. Also, right, David was that user we looked at for the follow me settings. Calls from the group ignore the follow me settings. Right, so in David's case, a call from the group is going to ring all of his phones, even if I had set up follow me call. If I need to remove a user, just click on the remove button and then save changes. And again, that just removes them from a group, does not delete the user. Extension box. Users can have multiple extensions, or groups can have multiple extensions, right? Click on add extension, enter in a new extension number and save changes. Groups can have their own phone number. Right? Number goes directly to the group. It's available 24/7. Group features. First up, we have ringback. This is essentially hold music for the group. You click up here to enable, upload a .wav or .mp3 file. The main thing to know is the system will not loop that file for you. So you want to make sure that the ring time matches or exceeds, or the play time of the file you upload matches or exceeds the ring time you have for the group. So it defaults to 2 minutes. Make sure it's at least 2 minutes long. Next action, to me, the most important feature. If no one in your group is able to answer the call, what do you want the system to do with that call, right? So up here at the top, you would click to enable, and then this pull down are places on your system, whether that's a specific user, another group, or a voicemail box, for example. Allow call forward, this just allows your users to make use of call forwarding. Caller ID prepend, this is a VoIP phone feature where you can have additional text or numbers show up on your staff members' VoIP phones in front of the caller ID of the inbound caller. And then you would click on Save Changes. Right. Once you have groups and users, then we can go ahead and click on Main Number here. Main company numbers. Right. These are your default numbers your customers are calling. You can always add more from your spare numbers or from just adding new numbers. Office hour strategy, you have open hours, open 24 hours or custom office hours. If you choose custom office hours for each day of the week that you're open, put a check mark for that day, and then set your open hours in 24-hour or military time. And then you also have the option here to be closed for lunch. And then any changes you make, click on Save Changes. Office holidays, if you're closed for all holidays, click on the box here. And then over here on the far right, click on Add Holiday. You have the option here for single day, date, range, or advanced. Each one of those would create a new row for you. And you just give it a name and then enter the relevant information, right? Month and date for a single day, for multiple days, or date range, right? You have a start date and an end date, and then save changes. Advanced, a little bit different. Choose the month. The second pull down, you have first through fifth as well as last. And then the day of the week. And then save changes. If you need to remove a holiday, click on the little trash icon and then save changes. Incoming call handling. So for my main numbers, how do I want my system to handle calls during my open hours, my after hours, or my holidays? The first option here is my virtual receptionist. I click on that virtual receptionist link there, opens up a big box here. My main menu, these are what people press on their phones to navigate through my phone system. I would then click on Add Route to give myself more menu options. This first pull down, you have the default action, 0 through 9, and the star key. And then the second pull down are things that you've created on your system. Greetings. You have different greeting options. Text to speech, just type in the greeting, the system will read it back in a computerized or robotic voice. Upload your own file, .wav, .mp3 file, up to 1 megabyte. Choose from existing recordings. This pull down will show all your media files on the account, so just be aware of that. Recorded over the phone. The system wants you to use, by default, a VoIP phone. That's how it knows. That's what it means by phone registered to the account. And then enter this PIN number. This PIN number is specific to this time of day. So I'm in my open hours, so it only works Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Professional recording services, click on order. This opens up a new tab, takes you to a company called Snap Recordings. You order through them, they'll email you the completed file, and you come back up here to upload your own file. Settings, number of retries on missed dials. This is how many times your inbound caller can make a mistake. They get one built-in attempt. So when I have one listed here, my inbound caller gets 2 total attempts. Dialing timeout, this is how much time the system waits for additional button presses, i.e. when someone's trying to enter in multiple extensions or multiple digit extensions, excuse me. Allow outside recording. This would be if you want to call in with a cell phone or a landline to change your main greeting over the phone, you'd want to turn this on. Now, we recommend that once you're done with that, turn it back off, so that way a random person can't randomly enter in your PIN number and change your main greeting on you. Allow dialing extensions. By default, this is on, and all that means is if someone enters a valid extension number, the system will transfer the call. If you turn it off, then they can only press the menu options. Anything else will be considered an invalid entry. And then lastly down here, suppress the playing of invalid entry. So when a customer makes too many mistakes, the system will say, we did not recognize your entry. If you don't want that message to play, click on this to turn it on. All right, so that way it's turning on the suppression. All right, any changes you make to your main menu, your greetings, or your settings, you want to click Save here at the bottom, and then Save Changes here under Incoming Call Handling. After hours, I'm using the second option here. This pull down lets me select something on my system. The idea is you're offering the call to a people or group of people before, and if they can't answer it, then you send it to the virtual receptionist. This is my after hours receptionist. So I'm gonna have different menu options and a greeting. For my holidays, I chose this third option. This pull down is something on your system. It can be a media file, can be a user or group, a specific device. All right, I chose the last option, which is skip the voicemail. And then here, this final second pull down, I choose a voicemail box on the system. Again, any changes, click on Save Changes. Main conference number, you got multiple conference room numbers if you want. You also will have the option here for a custom greeting, which is this text to speech. Just type in what you wanted to say, click on Save. Even if you leave that disabled, the system says welcome to the conference and prompts you to enter the conference room number and PIN number. Main fax box, you can only have the one main fax box number, your inbound fax number. You can also edit this fax box here. Inbound notification email. Whenever you get an inbound fax, the system will automatically send an email to the email address you put in the box to the right. It's going to include the details of the call as well as a PDF attachment. Please be aware if someone dials your fax box number by accident, i.e. from their cell phone, this email still gets an email sent to them saying there was a failed fax attempt. Email permissions, this is in the box to the right. You can enter an email address or you can enter your company's email domain. So like in this example here, everyone at VirtualPBX can send a fax out on this account, even though they're not a user on the account. Now, to send out a fax, it's via email. So anyone at VirtualPBX would create an email from their virtualpbx.com email address. And in the to field, they enter the phone number they're sending it to. So +1, area code and phone number, no spaces, dashes, or parentheses. Then this account realm information. And then they need to attach a PDF or TIFF. And then they would click send. One email address per attempt, one attachment per attempt. All right, auto attendance is a plan-specific feature or add-on. This allows you to create additional attendants. Can be used for, because you have multiple businesses, so each business has its own phone number, own greeting. Can also be used so you can make additional just menu options. Up here at the top, you click on Add Attendant, give it a name, give it an extension number, click on Create Attendant. Once they're created by default, they show up like this, unavailable main menu, meaning they're a standalone attendant. You can click on to be available in main menu, so now they're a submenu option. Attendants can have their own phone numbers, and they can have multiple if you wish. And then here under the little wrench icon here under settings, you see I have open hours, after hours, and holidays. This matches what we set up under your main number. And then click on Save Changes. The Device tab, this shows all the devices on the account. Red means it's unregistered, so we can't send calls to it. Green means we can. A little wrench icon here under the white devices. And the emergency caller ID. So every phone number on your account you can set up with its own address and then assign it to a specific VoIP phone for the purposes of E911. So that way, whenever this phone number, this VoIP phone calls 911, this is the address information that is transmitted to emergency services. Greetings tab shows all your media files on the account. You've got the name of the file, the source. TTS is text-to-speech. Upload means the file was uploaded. Recording means it was recorded over the phone. Under the play icon or play column, you have the option to play it back directly in your browser. You can download the file, which I do recommend during for your main greeting, especially right before the holidays. Under edit, you have a little wrench icon here. And you can change the name of the file to something you can recognize easily, or you could remove it if you know you no longer need it. Numbers starts you off on your numbers in use to show you where the numbers are assigned. Spare numbers, these are the numbers you're not using. You put a check mark in front of it, then you have the option here to delete. And then you would just click on delete numbers to confirm that. You can also port numbers, which is just moving a phone number from one carrier to us, for example. Click on the new port request and give it a name. Doesn't matter. It's just what you would refer to it. Choose local or toll-free, and then click on next. Then the system's going to want you to upload a PDF copy of your bill. You'll also be given a chance to download a blank